Okay, welcome to the Crow Show. People are always asking me about this opening slide and why I care about solstices and equinoxes, which is what we're going to cover, and there will be a UFO at the end. Anyhow, I have reached 6% funding on the Crow Discovery Project, and I thank you all for that on day 3. If you haven't seen my clips uploaded on June 11 and June 12, please go check them out. They were censored, they didn't go out on my live feed to a lot of people. Facebook said they were full of viruses and prevented people from seeing them. So it's a bit disappointing, but anyhow, if you haven't seen my clips, go check them out. Okay, we're going to start demonstrating here. These are old maps, and I'm going to demonstrate to you that you were not shown in school things that were critically important not too long ago. Here's an old map, and you'll see that the zodiac is associated with it. Now, there's a reason for that. It has to do with the sun, but in these old maps and many of the old things, there's the seasons, and I'm going to zoom in here. You'll see planetary symbols, moon symbols. There's some more seasons in the outer band, more planetary symbols. You'll see the equator going straight across the center of this map. There's more information at the bottom. This is not just artwork. This is all important information. Now, back in the day, you know, the upper class, the educated people got this information, but when you and I went through school, we were not taught about the solstices and equinoxes, and we should have been. Okay, so this map really demonstrates some critical information that the majority of us were never taught. Notice the flat line across the center of the two hemispheres. That's the equator. The swervy line is the path of the sun. Now I'll switch over to my opening slide, and you can see, and I will go through this so that you understand what's encoded here. To the far left is the zodiacal sign of Aries, and the sun there is the spring equinox. So that's a day of balance. Now as we move to the right, we move into Cancer, which is coming up for us. On the 21st of June, we will be in the summer solstice, and that next sun to the right there is in Cancer, and just when the sun is the strongest. Now moving to the right, we come to the sign of Libra. When the sun is in Libra on around the 20th or 21st, it's the fall equinox, and it's another day of balance. There are 2 of them, and they're both on the flat line, which is the equator. Moving to the right, we are in winter time. The sign is Capricorn, and that is just before Christmas. Matter of fact, it's why our holidays are there. This is the winter solstice. And then we start to arc up, the days are getting longer, and all the way to the right in this slide, we are back around to the left again, and we're in the sign of Aries, and we're back to the spring equinox. Now coming back to the world map, there's a lot of things encoded in here, and all of it means something. Again, in this map, you will see that the zodiac is associated up here in the right corner. There's a phoenix there. There's a couple peacocks. Those are alchemical signs. It all is giving information. This map is loaded with information that the average person cannot read. But if we come back to the center of the map, the all-important path of the sun, which is really what the equinoxes and solstices are about, and there's just so much that you could say about them that I can't even make a clip to begin to cover it, but what I give you here is a starting point if you want to go learn more about it. Okay, so now we're moving forward to the Orion Nebula. This is an image, actually it's made up of about 50 images that are stacked that I took some time ago of the Orion Nebula. There's a lot of work being done by people just like me who have YouTube channels now that are showing how important the Orion Nebula is, and for a long time I have been looking into whether or not the Orion Nebula is actually the power source for our sun. In other words, could it be that our sun isn't burning anything, that the power source comes from the Orion Nebula? There's a gentleman with an outstanding channel on YouTube named Danny Wilton who has done magnificent work. He's shown that the Orion Nebula is encoded into cathedral altars from way back when, you know, these buildings were built. I mean, we've never built buildings like that since, but he's demonstrated how important the Orion Nebula was in the religious institutions of the time. Now, everybody on planet Earth seems to have a kind of pull. You know, if there's the one constellation you can identify, it's usually Orion. Well, there's a reason for that. And I believe it's because the Orion Nebula is there. And I think it's critically important to us as human beings, and I think it probably plays a role in what happens to us after we pass away. Okay, so before I demonstrate what the equinoxes and solstices physically look like so you can get an image in your head, go out today and look at the sun. We're coming up on the solstice, and you will notice that the quality of sunlight has changed as we come in to the summer solstice. It's a more pure quality. It's very white and clear and pure, and I'm not telling you to look at the sun, but I do sun gaze occasionally, and I can glance at the sun briefly without any ill effects at the middle of the day right now. And again, I am not telling you to go out and look at the sun. You need to know what you're doing. Anyhow, go out, look, near the sun, get a sense of the color of the sky, the quality of the light as we go into the solstice, because it's the angle of the sunlight that is the thing that has been hidden from us for so long. As a matter of fact, people in old writings claimed that the word angels was an encoding of the word angles to further obscure how important the angles of sunlight are for human beings, and this relates to the equinoxes and solstices. Okay, so here we are where I'm going to try to put the visual image in your head of, the kind of thinking you should have when you think about a solstice or an equinox. This image is of the summer solstice, which again is going to happen here pretty quick on June 21st. Notice on the top is the sign for Cancer, on the bottom is the sign for Capricorn. Now when you see a zodiacal wheel, that's how they're laid out. There's a reason for that. Look on the right side of this image and you will see the two tropics on either side of the equator. The top one is Cancer, the bottom one is Capricorn. So this is directly related to the zodiacal signs that they represent. Now, off to the left here, the sun's rays are coming in at the angle they hit us during the summer solstice. Notice that the sun rays are hitting exactly parallel to the Tropic of Cancer. Now when we go all the way half a year around and we're in the winter solstice, the reverse will happen and these rays will hit at the same angle on the Tropic of Capricorn. I'm sorry, the one for the winter solstice. But notice another thing. Look at the globe in the center. Notice how there's more daylight than nighttime. Right now, as we come into the summer solstice, the sun will be at its strongest and the days will be the longest and there will be more daytime than nighttime. Okay, now as we move to the next slide, this is the equinoxes. And I've laid out Aries on the left and Libra on the right because those are the two signs that tell us when the sun is in the correct place to give us an equinox. On the left, Aries is the spring equinox, and on the right is the fall equinox, which is represented when the sun is in Libra. Now look at the globe in the center and notice it's perfectly equal. Day is equal to night. This happens on 2 days of the year, and this is critically important. In the ancient writings, they allude to the fact that if every day was an equinox, we'd be living in paradise, to kind of put an allegory or a perspective on this idea. And again, you can see the equator and the two tropics, Cancer and Capricorn, and you can see the sun rays coming in exactly level to the equator. So that's what you should be thinking in your mind when you think about equinoxes. Okay, so this brings me to the lunar wave footage. I don't know if anyone's realized I have posted the dates, but all 5 wave filmings have been near equinoxes. This one, which is the 2012 filming, and clearly the best by a mile, happened right at, or actually right after, the fall equinox of 2012. All other filmings happened near the spring equinox of 2014. Now I don't know if there's a relationship here, but I mean, considering I've done this 5 times, and each time it was at one or other equinoxes, I think it bears looking at, and also makes you wonder if we film the moon here at the solstice, will we find something interesting then? Okay, so I hope you've been able to follow me, and I'm going to sum up here, and then we're going to look at an interesting UFO that people think looks like the Dark Knight satellite, because I know people expect to see a UFO. Anyhow, Next time the spring equinox rolls around, if you want to know how you're affected by this, look at a living thing, a tree, as an example, and watch what happens to that tree as we pass the spring equinox. It bursts into life, flowers come forth, they, bloom and create fruit, and all this stuff happens all the way up to the summer solstice. Then as the sun declines, we start headed towards fall, and as fall gets here, everyone harvests because the plants are done, they've done their bit, and we enter spring, and then everything goes dormant, leaves fall off. So if you can take that kind of analogy of a plant and then in your mind translate it to human beings, it's kind of hard to describe. It's like trying to describe the color blue to someone using words. You can't really do it. The point is we're all affected by this, and it does matter. And to put a fine point on it, we all know that the moon and the sun affect us all. Tides from the moon, light, heat, from the sun. So how is it that we've been so easily convinced that all those other planets out there, and some of them are massive, have no influence on us? And I can guarantee you the ruling class of this planet knows all about this. They use scientific astrology, they know about equinoxes and solstices, they plan their events because they understand the influences. But anyhow, there it is. A lot of people asked why I'm always talking about equinoxes and solstices, so that was my attempt at giving you a path to follow if you're interested. Anyhow, this clip right here coming up is an interesting UFO that I shot one night when they were chemtrailing heavily, and I just caught this object, and when I saw it, it looked like a triangular object, and I posted it once, and a lot of people commented that it looked like the Black Knight satellite. So I thought it was interesting. I'll give you a couple views of it here, and so there it is. Cheers. Okay, in closing, it's day 3 of the Crow Discovery Project. I have reached 6%. I thank you all for that, and if you'd like to contribute, hit Indiegogo, search under film for the Crow Discovery Project, or you can use the link that is under this clip and use PayPal if you're interested in supporting me. And by the way, if you're living check to check, please do not give me money. Just share the clip. That's support too. And I'm serious about that. I had to refund to one gentleman I know doesn't have a lot of money who gave me money, so I had to go into PayPal and refund his money back. So only give if you can afford to. Thank you.